Hey, welcome to Planet Hex. It's Andrew and Andrew. Today we're going to talk about some magic, because magic is magic.
It's amazing.
We're going to talk about Kamigawa, Neon Dynasty, and we're going to talk about how we both kind of found magic again after a breakaway, didn't we? So I found it when I got back into it when my friend of mine, Danny, that used to work at Warhammer in town, moved to New Zealand, and gave me all of his cards. He turned up with shopping bags, like bags for life, full of cards. It was awesome. And got back into it that way, and loved it ever since. Got into Arena and things like that. How did you find it again?
So as you know, and you're well aware, I'm very into Dungeons and Dragons, like heavily into it. I've DM'd quite a few games.
Yep.
One with yourself in the party as well.
Sorry, I know we're a troublesome lot.
And Magic did the Dungeons and Dragons Forgotten Realms crossover, and I was like, that's super cool. So yeah, that kind of drew me back in a little bit. I bought the like booster pack box, the like 35 quid one, I think it was, and built a couple of decks from that. And then it kind of spiraled a little bit. A little bit. A few, yeah.
How that's not entirely true, is it?
No. So then I bought. So then I got into Innistrad Midnight Hunt, and yeah, kind of built decks from there. And then I was like, oh yeah, I remember I got a couple more boxes hidden in another box somewhere. So yeah, now I think I must have got like, I don't know, 7 or 8 different decks, and then the rest are just spares. So yeah, it's been quite an obsession, and yeah, just been it's been good because obviously, as you know, we've been playing games together and having a laugh and having some games, and then there's a couple of other guys that we both know that we play some games with. So yeah, it's been good. It's been good to get back into it and see the new mechanics and how my old decks still work with some of the newer cards and some of the new mechanics and stuff. It's been fun. It's
come on a long way since I last played, because I didn't play since between about 2002 and 2018, and oh my god, it changed.
I played it a bit in. Yeah, I played it a bit in uni, so that was like 2000 and probably 2008, and then I had like a hiatus, and then I played it again probably like 2015, 2016 when I was playing it at work. There was a couple of workmates that played it, and then yeah, since then, and then with the Forgotten Realms stuff, I was just like, those cards look very cool, and some of the mechanics are fun. And like the dungeon delving stuff, which is just ridiculous.
Oh, I love that stuff. That's great fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm very excited for this new deck. It looks insane.
It looks right up my street. I'm big into like the whole synthwave aesthetic of it. Anyway, I've always been a fan of cyberpunk stuff ever since seeing Blade Runner when I was about 10. And I've always loved that sort of aesthetic, and seeing it come to Magic is weird. It's weird but good. It's because I'm used to them doing werewolves and vampires, like with Midnight Hunt and Crimson Vow and all the fantasy stuff from Theros and things like that. But seeing them moving a bit more of a anime stroke sci-fi stroke cyberpunk thing, it seems to be that they have taken notice of what is popular at the moment. There's a lot of
definitely. It's because I didn't know, like, I've not followed the lore and the story that I probably should, but I didn't know that it was Kamigawa was a set like years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
And so they've brought some of the like creatures and some of the planeswalkers and stuff like up into this new, futuristic, cyberpunky version of Kamigawa. I think they said it was like 1200 years in the future or something. And it's like I've recently started replaying Cyberpunk 2077, so it's like when I heard this and it was announced, I was like, I think they must like secretly be spying on me and going, Andy's playing stuff like that.
They're paying attention to what people are into at the moment. I mean, you see the whole synthwave and cyberpunk aesthetic all over the place on clothes and adverts and music videos and things like that. So there is an awareness of it beyond geekdom. It's interesting
definitely.
with the D&D stuff. Going back to that just before we get onto Kamigawa again, that's not by far not the only crossover that's planned. However, that is the one that makes the most sense. I think that was a perfect melding of it. But
it was brilliant. It was like the way that they'd done the mechanics to fit in with how D&D plays and stuff, and the fact that you had cards where you roll a d20 and it's like and getting like the playable races and the classes, which were
at a party.
It's a lot of fun. It was a really good mechanic and one that definitely worked. I think that made them like they sold quite a lot of that, I think.
It will probably stick as your favorite for a good long while, because it seems to be for me, my favorite is War of the Spark, because that's what came out when I came back into it. And I think that you'll end up measuring everything that comes after against the D&D set. It's like, this isn't what I'm familiar with, but it kind of you do pass on to it eventually.
Yeah, because I got the Innistrad Midnight Hunt, and I think because I knew a lot about D&D anyway, and then the Magic stuff came out. Whilst I got Midnight Hunt, I didn't invest as much as what I did in the Forgotten Realms set. Yeah, because I just wanted to see how some of the things that I use in D&D would work being converted into a card to play in Magic. Yeah, and I think that's what really hooked me and made me get more of it. But yeah, this new set just looks. Again, I think I'm going to be hooked on this one. I think it's going to be brilliant. I think
it does seem to be getting a lot better, because I didn't really get on with Strixhaven when that came out. The Harry Potter but not Harry Potter.
Yes, yeah, it was. To me, it was hyped a lot. It was hyped loads. I remember seeing all the like little videos and stories that they put out, and the fact that you could choose a school and all this stuff, and I was like, oh, that seems pretty cool. And then it dropped, and I was just a bit like, oh, okay. I was very underwhelmed.
Well, there's things like the learn mechanic and things that I don't think really gelled for me anyway. Kaldheim did, because Kaldheim was more violent.
So when I played originally, I first got into Magic with the Khans of Takia set. So that was a lot of ogres, goblins, a lot of big creatures, a lot of trample mechanics, a lot of not prowess, like overgrowth mechanics, giving things +1/+1 or +2/+2, etc.
Yes.
Which is why that's why I based my Minotaur deck off, which is a lot of Minotaurs and cards that give Minotaurs buffs. And that was all around Takia and stuff. And that was my first like kind of set into Magic. Like I'd been in a couple of drafts before with my mates, and I was like, oh, this is cool. But yeah, that's when it kind of sunk in a bit more. I was like, oh, okay, I'll get a set and I'll start. And that's when I started like deck building and looking at different cards and seeing what worked well and all that kind of stuff. So
cool. And you've been playing Arena as well.
Yeah, I played Arena a few times, unlocked a few decks. There's some quite good decks in there, and doing like they have like some events and stuff. But it's quite good. Like it's literally just an online version of Magic. So if you can't, with COVID and everything, people can't meet in person, Arena is your go-to, basically.
Actually, it's not the only one. There is Magic Online, but that's literally just like table Magic, but it doesn't have any of the effects or anything like that in it. And I do think Arena has brought a lot of people to it. Definitely.
I think the fact that it's basically just Magic the Gathering, but the fact that you've got like the fancy graphics and the animations on when you do attacks and all that kind of stuff, and the fact that they do like these events. So when a physical version is released, they basically do an equivalent version on Arena. So you have like specific events where you can only play certain colors or things like that, and you can unlock other cards. So basically it's exactly the same as Magic, but like an online version.
Do you have an opinion of alchemy? Have you read about that or tried it or anything?
No, I haven't. I kind of like, my go-to mechanics are basically like, I like prowess, and I like what's the one that I use? Undergrowth is probably my favorite mechanic, which is things coming out of the graveyard. They're kind of my go-to mechanics. But yeah, I've not really focused on the alchemy stuff that much, but
it's caused a lot of controversy. I did try it when it first came on, and straight away decided it wasn't for me, but that's just probably me being awkward. I must try it again. But it's like, it's a digital only format, and it's they've rebalanced some of the cards for it from older sets, but those cards are also, I believe they're getting rebalanced across the board on Arena.
Right.
So you're kind of forced to use the alchemy cards, which I think is where a lot of the controversies come from. But one thing I have found since coming back to Magic, to be honest, is that there's just been too much of it. There's been too many sets. I mean, they couldn't help the COVID era, but like Ikoria, World of Land of Behemoths came out, and that it kind of tanked, I believe, because no one was in game shops anymore.
Yeah, I think like one of the things I found with the Midnight Hunt as well, with the Innistrad set, the fact that they did Midnight Hunt and then literally, was it a couple of months later they did Crimson Vow?
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, I sort of get it. I don't know if it was the fact of, it wasn't fully ready, but I was expecting it all to be just one thing. So Crimson Vow and Midnight Hunt packed in together, vampires versus werewolves, that kind of thing.
Underworld.
Yeah, basically. But having read up a bit more on the Kamigawa side of things, it seems like it's been, in the works for a very, very long time. I think they've kind of, from what they were saying, it was kind of, this set was like thought about at the start of lockdown. So they've basically been collaborating on it virtually and getting more people in, and taking the time with it, getting in like cultural reference people who make sure that everything's as accurate as they can be. There's a really good video about like a breakdown of how they came about with Neon Dynasty. That's on Magic's website, and that's really, really good. I watched it earlier.
I'll have a look at that. I know that Wizards as a whole have been trying to be more representational. I mean, remember there was the thing with D&D a couple of years ago where they'd got a lot of feedback on like you've really like dropped the ball with some of these non-white characters or anything like that. They are listening to people more, and I think that's made D&D and Magic a bit more interesting and richer. Definitely.
Like like as I said, we've played D&D quite a bit, and the amount of, compared to 5-10 years ago, the amount of resources and the amount of people that are playing it now is just crazy. I mean, obviously you've got things like Stranger Things, which kind of helped, because it kind of brought D&D a bit into the masses, because obviously they were playing it in the show. People might have gone, I've not heard of it before. So that's kind of brought in a bit more of an audience. But it's the collaboration between the two was really good, and Magic seemed to be doing the same now. They seem to be kind of appealing to a greater audience.
Speaking of appealing to a greater audience, what are your thoughts on them doing the Warhammer 40k crossover?
It's an interesting one, because as we both know, we've both played 40k, we've both got armies, had armies, done this, done that. I think the fact that it's got such a big following, and the fact that Games Workshop have done card-based games before,
Yeah, they've got one going.
So they've done Underworlds and they've got Warhammer Champions, which is like a deck building game itself. I think the scope is huge. You know, it's how much they're going to do. If it's just going to be, you know, here's some limited edition like Space Marine cards, then I think a lot of people are gonna not like it. But you know, if they take their time and they go, okay, let's put, you know, Orcs in red or Eldar in white or Eldar in blue or Space Marines in, I don't know, whatever they want to be in, because you know,
Eldari, don't annoy Games Workshop.
Eldar,
it's Eldari.
Yeah, Eldari. Sorry. But yeah, if they do it like that, you know, if they take each army and go, right, we think it's going to fit in this and make like specific mechanics, like a WoW mechanic might be quite cool and all that kind of stuff. I think it can work really well. And, you know, having like equipment like power swords or power axes or that kind of stuff. I
was interested that they went for 40k rather than Age of Sigmar, because I thought Age of Sigmar would fit Magic's play style
I think it's a case of, you know, I think if they'd have picked Age of Sigmar, there'd already be quite a lot of cards because Magic is in that fantasy kind of, you know, aesthetic anyway. There'd be a lot of crossovers and a lot of similarities, whereas I think picking something like 40k, which is, you know, set in the future, they don't really have that much mechanics and things where, you know, those kind of things work. I think that's going to really push them as to going, okay, how can we make, you know, a Space Marine in power armor with a chainsword and a bolt gun fit on a card? That's kind of the way I see it. Is kind of how are they going to get all these things?
They're all going to be 10/10s.
That's it. Yeah. Marines is ridiculous.
Yes, you can have up to 1,000 in your hands.
Yeah. Someone calls a war and spawns 100 orcs on the
exactly
on your side of the field.
I think it might be good if they tried. It probably wouldn't have as much scope, but Necromunda, because then you could have like gangs. You could build a gang in your hand, like you've had the party mechanic and things like that. But do you think Kamigawa is going to Neon Dynasty is going to bring more people in? I think it will.
Yes, I mean, having even just having a look at the artwork on some of the cards, they are great. Incredible.
Yes,
like
they are.
Even appealing to like the, you know, comic readers, anime, manga people. Yes. Some of the artworks and some of the alternate arts, which are like literally like hand drawn or like oil canvas pieces.
I've been checking some of them out, and they are lovely.
It's just ridiculous. Like, some of them are ridiculous, and I've been having a look at the like full body lands. Oh my god, I want them. They are so nice. The black lands in particular are superb.
Isn't it weird that you can just get so excited about lands of all things? With Crimson Vow, the black and white lands with the color frame round, like, oh, these are really nice. I love those.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely think it is. I think there's going to be a lot of people who have been waiting for something like this for a long time, like Magic going, you know, beyond the fantasy realm and beyond the fantasy kind of mechanic. I know there has been like, you know, there has been some mechanics before where they've dealt with, I think it was like electricity or something, or
there was a steampunk thing going on for a while.
But this is like, you know, full on, you know, neon lightsaber-esque kind of katanas and loads of crazy like neon lights everywhere, and it's going to be good, I think.
I'm absolutely up for it. So we both need to get some cards, and we will get the Massive back together. My wife refers to it as the Massive whenever I mention the MTG gang. We're called the MTG Massive on WhatsApp, and whenever I mention it, my wife always goes the Massive. But that's because she's my wife.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to at some point head over to mine, and we can play games on the LED table that I've got.
Oh, you've got the big table, yes.
Yeah, you can have an LED neon party with flashing lights.
Absolutely. Full on cyberpunk magic party. I'm up for that. Well, thank you very much for joining me for this, Andy. I really appreciate it.
No worries, man. It's been good.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and validate my existence.